cowboy?
My whole life.
It's not worth your anything, Jason. You're no different.
Some of the best Hollywood stars have attempted making westerns, but despite their efforts, made some pretty bad ones. Westerns were, in their time, as popular as anything today, but eventually lost their luster by the 70s. Then crime and action movies rose to prominence. Westerns began to fade into the background. A western comes out every few years nowadays, with various actors strapping on a pair of spurs and try to rejuvenate a little of the tradition of the western frontier and the feeling of the Wild West. Today I'm singling out some examples of the best rated actors who put on the hat and mounted their horse in an attempt to make their mark on the western genre. If you enjoy this video, take a peek at my channel for more. The link's in the description. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to share with your friends. The more the merrier. Let's get into it. Humphrey Bogart in Virginia City, 1940. One of only two films in which Humphrey Bogart wore a moustache. The other was Isle of Fury, 1936. Bogart's film noirs like The Big Sleep and The Maltese Falcon established the archetype for hardcore detectives. But previous to that, Bogey appeared in westerns in the 1930s and 40s, like Virginia City. He played a desperado against a Union intelligence agent played by Errol Flynn. Lacking scope, quality cinematography, and good script, left Bogey as the only cast member who looked authentic. James Franco, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, 2018. After barely escaping being hung earlier and about to be hanged again, along with several other men, the cowboy, James Franco, sees a man sobbing in the noose next to him. Cowboy says, "First time?" The man looks at him confused. James Franco, the star of offbeat comedies like Pineapple Express and Your Highness, tries to make a western. The film failed. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs was an anthology of vignettes that failed to play on Franco's real-life reputation. He didn't make the most of his looks, nor try to use them for effect. Scott Eastwood, Diablo, 2015. This is Scott Eastwood's first western. The son of Clint Eastwood unfortunately failed to meet expectations in his own western. In Diablo, he played a Civil War veteran hunting the bandits that kidnapped his wife, relying on twists and shock value to sell its story, suffering the problem of attempting to reconcile the characters who haven't been adequately developed. Ewan McGregor, Jane Got a Gun, 2015. After Bradley Cooper was forced to drop out of the production, the LA Times reported that Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, and Jeff Bridges were in consideration to take over his role of John Bishop. The part would eventually be played by Ewan McGregor. The British have had great success appearing in westerns, but when Scott, Ewan McGregor tried it, not so much. In Jane Got a Gun, opposite Natalie Portman and Joel Edgerton, playing the villain, a revenge story that needlessly dragged on. They don't know what to do with McGregor, who should never have been cast. If you're enjoying this video, you may like this one also. Go to my channel, just follow the link in the description to find hundreds of videos. Now, let's get back to the video. Harrison Ford, The Frisco Kid, 1979. The marketing for the film emphasizes Gene Wilder's role in the film, with little mention of Ford's supporting role, despite Ford having been in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, 1977, 2 years earlier. Before becoming the star he is today in films like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford earned his stripes on westerns in one of his film's first roles. He played in The Frisco Kid. Ford played opposite Gene Wilder's Polish rabbi. Ford looked the part in his Stetson hat and gun belt, and he's since made other westerns like Cowboys and Aliens and 1923, but the scripts didn't make the most of his dry humour or physicality. Bert Reynolds, Navajo Joe, 1966. Bert Reynolds only agreed to make this film because he was under the impression that Sergio Leone would be directing. When he found out it was Sergio Corbucci, he tried to pull out, but the contracts had already been signed and it was too late. Before he was the Bandit, Reynolds appeared in westerns in the 60s, notably playing a Native American in Navajo Joe. Reynolds played the Navajo man who seeks revenge on the bandits who killed his tribe, a spaghetti western, and was gratuitously violent, and stereotypes of Native Americans best forgotten. Robert Deval, A Night in Old Mexico, 2013. Deval made some of the best westerns of the genre, but has made a couple that lost the plot. Despite playing in great westerns like Open Range and True Grit, sharing the screen with icons like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, he somehow appeared in sad examples of the genre, like A Night in Old Mexico. This western was conceited when they needed to be tense, underutilising Deval's screen presence and deciding to promote younger cast members. Johnny Depp, The Lone Ranger, 2013. Tonto means fool in Spanish, Italian and Portuguese. In Spanish versions of this film, Tonto is renamed Toro, which means bull. Johnny Depp, after participating in blockbusters like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, made The Lone Ranger. Johnny tried to succeed in the Western genre. The project was gimmicky and focused on style over substance. Tonto had the added offence of taking a role from a first American actor. Idris Elba, The Harder They Fall, 2021. Another Brit breaking into the Western genre. Idris picks a few attention-grabbing movies to do so. One such was the all-black Western, The Harder They Fall, with plenty of action and a choice cast, but lacked that one ingredient to make it great. When Nat Love discovers that his enemy, Rufus Buck, is being released from prison, he rounds up his gang to track Rufus down and seek revenge. Elba is still searching for the right project. Luke Wilson, Outlaws and Angels, 2016. His brother Owen Wilson made the highly entertaining Shanghai Noon films. Luke Wilson's foray into westerns hasn't been so successful. When outlaws on the lam invade the home of an unsuspecting, seemingly innocent frontier family to hide out for the night, an unexpected game of cat and mouse ensues, leading to seduction, role reversal, and ultimately bloody revenge. In Outlaws and Angels, he played a bounty hunter opposite Chad Michael Murray. Particularly focused on the ugliness found in the West, he may have been too morally bereft and in your face for the sake of subverting expectations to be entertaining. Hello to any new viewers on my channel. Thanks for your time today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. Don't forget to hit the notification button to get my new videos. Share with your friends. Drop me your comments. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Not this cowboy.
Whole life.
Not worth everything he takes. You're no different.
Interesting facts about famous people.